We are going to explore the issue of work-based learning for young people who have been or are at risk of being excluded or expelled from mainstream education. It is very important to help them gain skills and qualifications to go on to further education or employment. Let's see what the public have to say about the issue of work-based learning in Preston.
What kind of programs do you think young people may have for learning apart from the traditional formal education?
I think aren't there apprenticeships that people can do also? I know that there's some people I know that are doing GCSEs, but instead of doing formal kind of GCSEs, they're doing like hairdressing apprenticeships and stuff like that. So I heard that they're available.
Get them involved in work experience would be a good thing.
Have you ever felt excluded from school?
Yeah, because I'm dyslexic. I found it really difficult.
I don't feel excluded from school, but it's a lot harder. Like my children went to the same high school as I went to, and it's scary.
Do you know of any work-based learning opportunities in Preston?
No, I don't. Actually?
Not any specific places, because I've been around as a student for about 6 months now.
Have you ever been involved with work-based learning?
I did an apprenticeship, modern apprenticeship, when I was 16, came straight out of school, but I sorted that out myself, and apart from that, no.
I actually get involved with companies like Kinetic, Lancashire County Council, trying to get more apprentices, encouraging my boss, educating him to employ young children, 16 to 18 year olds, which is difficult at the moment because all he wants is guys who are in the 40s because they've got the more experience, but you've got to get these youngsters. How are they going to learn if they don't get in manufacturing companies or anything, you see?
Do you think it's important to have work-based learning centres?
Yeah, I think it is important because it offers people sometimes a different route. Rather than just sit down in a classroom all day, teach you great deal of skills and more sort of life skills as well. So.
Yeah, important, especially because it's hard to get jobs without kind of experience, and those kind of things give you experience. So you definitely need it because you need more than qualifications nowadays.
I think it's an opportunity for anyone to get involved.
I think it's more important that they should have these places where you can continue your education if they want to.
Yeah, definitely. Because everyone's going to uni and coming out with like the same qualifications, so there'll be like 50 people fighting over the same job. So it's going to be tricky, isn't it? But, yeah.
Do you think formal education encourages some young people to feel excluded?
Yeah, I think it can. It has. I think I don't like the streaming as well, the sets that people do and the way they're put into them. I think there's a lot of things that could be changed about the education system at high school level, especially.
I think, yeah, in some cases, yeah. I mean, it depends the type of person you are.
It's just kind of too much the norm. Too much like you go to school, you go to college, you go to university, you just do as everyone else does, and no one gives you any other option, sort of thing.
So it's obvious that the public agree with us and can see that work-based learning is very positive for teenagers trying to get their life on track. But what exactly is work-based learning? We have created this report that will explain in detail the current situation.
In the UK, there is a large number of young people not in employment, education or training, also known as NEET. This number of people has almost doubled over the past couple of decades. In 1985, statistics showed that 8% of people between 16 to 18 years old were considered NEET, but in 2009 the statistics showed that 14% of 16 to 18-year-olds were not in any form of employment, education or training. In Britain, the age the government stops providing help to young people to remain in education is 18. Obviously, this is a mistake, and statistics show us that, in fact, people that leave education or training at the age of 18 is a worrying 16.6%. compared to the 5.2% of people who leave education or training at the age of 16. In the UK, limited funding is given to students and therefore does not reinforce the idea of carrying on in education as worthwhile. Particularly for people who did not do so well in formal education, the idea of carrying on can seem a waste of time, or sometimes not even an option due to lack of qualifications. If this is the case, a young person's self-esteem is damaged and may find it hard to believe in themselves enough to get a job, which in its own right is hard enough when you have many qualifications. So with poor grades, it starts to seem pointless trying. For more enabled students, formal education is still not always desirable because of factors such as peer pressure, or because the idea of having freedom to do what they want after school seems too attractive, and many opt for a gap year, which is far too easily turns into years. A similar problem occurs when a pupil does not wish to begin studying in September, or if they drop out a couple of months into a course. They have to wait until next September to be able to enrol in formal education, leaving some young people a whole year being NEET because of the layout of the formal education timetable. Informal education offers a solution to many of these problems, allowing flexible times and starting all year round in many organisations. The informal layout of these programmes offer young people more freedom and therefore appears more desirable than formal education to many. A young person can concentrate more on specific areas of study that interest them, rather than studying what they expected to learn in the national curriculum. This opens up a world of positives for a young person who may not cope well in formal education, giving an opportunity to those without qualifications to gain skills that will help them apply for jobs, often in a more enjoyable way than compared to formal education. Being able to learn in an informal environment allows study to fit around the young person instead of other way around, increasing confidence and encouraging them to feel as part of a team. Work-based learning organisations also keep young people from doing nothing with their time for long periods, keeping them in the routine of working or studying, which can be hard to get back into when left. Unfortunately, despite the clear positives exposed by informal education or work-based learning, there is a limited amount of organisations that offer this sort of study. The organisations are also prone to limited funding and resources, meaning currently, especially with all the government cuts, many of these places are disappearing. Not only does the lack of funding cause closure in places, but it can mean those which remain open can only offer their form of education to a reserved number of people, not nearly meeting the demand for young people wishing to go into this type of training. Many have claimed also that they did not know anything about these organisations in their area, and the lack of advertising is clear. So those who wish to go into informal education don't because they don't even know they exist.